submitted 4 music tracks.
All right.
What I Mean, Except for Today, Take Me Baby, and Backing Down.
Got it. All right.
Which track would you like me to start with?
The one that I'm having, that I've recently released, those are from various different albums. One of them is from my debut 20 years ago. What I Mean is a single that I've just put out. I've never officially released a single. I've always been an album kind of guy, and being an independent artist, you know, it's sort of presumptuous to say, "Oh, I'm releasing a single." But the way things are nowadays, you can release a single and push it out there and treat it as such. So What I Mean is my most recent release.
It's have that one then.
Yeah, that's more of a ballad.
All the interviews are done in the same way.
Gotcha.
In much as I'll record the interview dry. We can then tidy it up in post-production, edit it, that sort of thing, and then I can add music tracks to it. And the good thing is, at the end of the interview, if, for example, you know, I'll be saying, phil+circle, thank you very much. And then you'll say, thanks very much, Bill, or whatever, or have a nice day, or whatever you're going to say.
Sure.
And that can then be overlaid on the second music track, which I'll get you to select in a moment. And if that has got an instrumental opening to it, then I can overlay it, and you'll say, thanks very much, or whatever, or have a nice day, and it'll go right up to the vocals. So it sounds as if it's been sort of stuck on the BBC or something.
Oh, fantastic.
It's all mod cons, yeah. So, which track would you like to finish with?
Take Me Baby is from a fairly recent album, and it's an acoustic track with vocal and harmonica, very bluesy, so appropriate from a Chicagoan standpoint here. So yeah, Take Me Baby, I think would be an ideal one for that, and it'll give a bit of the range of what I do.
All right, now we have a very short introduction for you.
Right.
phil+circle, a folk rock adult contemporary singer-songwriter influenced by Pete Townsend and Morrissey. Hometown is Chicago, and he can be found at phil+circle.com. And it is welcome to the Underground Edition, phil+circle, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, you have phil+circle.com, or is it phil+circlemusic.com?
phil+circlemusic.com.
Got it.
All right, stand by.
Okay.
Okay, Phil, can I have a level off you, please?
Yes, checking there. I'm speaking to you this morning from Chicago. You're Welsh, are you, Bill?
Yes, I come from South Wales, yes.
That's fantastic. My dad's family came out of South Wales. I've been to the cottage that they were from.
And what part of Wales did your family come from?
They, well, I don't know exactly, but I know that they sailed out of Aberavon.
And they're right on, so they would have been West Walians.
And I have a picture of it on the wall of our bathroom, the harbor that they sailed from in the late 19th century. My great uncles, Tom and Dave and Charno and Reese, and I used to hear Welsh sung around my dad's family when I was a child.
Right, okay.
And,
that means that you guys came from mid Wales, but it would have been the west coast of mid Wales.
Got it.
Aberavon is near Aberystwyth.
Yes, I heard a lot of Aberystwyth.
Yes, that's from there. Now, where I come from South Wales.
Got it.
So, are you familiar? Do you know where Cardiff and Swansea is?
Yeah, I know of Cardiff. Yes.
Right. Well, I live 22 miles. No, it's not 22 miles. It's 22 minutes. So it's probably about 18 miles, 12 to 18 miles west of Cardiff. Where I live is smack bang between Swansea and Cardiff, and in the north-south position. I live fairly near the place where Richard Burton was born.
Oh, fantastic.
And Anthony Hopkins.
Do they still do an Eisteddfod in Wales?
Yes, they certainly do. About 18 years ago, something like that, there was an Eisteddfod here in Bridgend.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's where you are, yes.
Yes, they had the Eisteddfod there, and I covered part of that. That was interesting.
Have you ever heard of a band called the Mekons?
Yes, I've heard of the Mekons.
John Langford of the Mekons is now a Chicago resident.
Really?
Yes, and he has as well. Circle is my adopted name.
Yeah.
My biological family are Welsh, and my adopted family are Welsh, and then the rest of me is Irish and Gypsy. But
yeah, there's a little bit of Irish traveller in me too.
fantastic.
I also spent some time in Southern Ireland, working on a radio station out there called ABC Radio, and I was out there for so long that when I came back, I started to talk a bit like that. I had the old Irish lilt, and I can still drop into it at any time I bloody well like.
That's right. That's fantastic. Well, of course, Chicago is a big Irish town. They color the Chicago River green on St. Patrick's Day here. They go completely bananas for anything Irish, even people who aren't.
Yeah, I worked in a radio station in Waterford City called ABC Radio, and I was the head of commercial production there for about a year.
Waterford City, is that Waterford Crystal?
Yeah, Waterford Crystal, yeah. I had a girlfriend out there as well who broke my heart and 2 of my ribs. Oh, they like to fight there.
She found out about your wife, did she?
No, she didn't turn out to be my wife. My wife comes from Newport, but I also met her through the radio as well.
Oh, that's great.
Nice levels. This should be a doddle to do.
All right.
3, 2, 1. What I Mean by phil+circle, a folk rock, adult contemporary singer-songwriter influenced by Pete Townsend and Morrissey. His hometown is Chicago, and he could be found at phil+circle music, and that's all one word, phil+circlemusic.com. And it is, welcome to the Underground Edition, phil+circle himself. Hello, Phil. How you doing?
Good morning, Bill. I'm well, thank you.
Now, how's Chicago today?
Unseasonably warm. Well, it's still dark here as we speak, but yes, it's unseasonably warm. We had snow, it melted, it snowed again, and it's melted again. So it's, I think, yours Celsius there, yes? So it's above zero. Yeah.
Well, that's always good,
Celsius.
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right, okay. Now, how long have you been in music, and what led you into it? Tell us about your influences.
My mother was a musician, and Gilbert and Sullivan producer. She produced every Gilbert and Sullivan operetta, including one that the score had been lost in a fire from. She had it recomposed by a cellist in the Chicago Symphony. So I grew up around music. You sort of had no choice in our family but to learn an instrument. I grew up then on operettas, and my 5 elder siblings were all fans of the Beatles and what we now call classic rock. And being in Chicago, you have to like the blues, or you may as well move. And all these things were surrounding me. And my dad, I would visit him downtown, and he had traveled during World War II, and he loved music of all kinds. So it was everywhere. I don't remember not having music in my life. I learned to read English by learning lyrics and songs, for instance. So
now, can you describe it? Sorry, you've gone on for so long.
Yes,
we'll sort of chop that back, right? So,
absolutely.
So I'll cut this piece in, right?
All right.
The interview will run for about 6 minutes talk time.
Gotcha.
All right, next bit.
All right.
And part 2. Can you describe your musical work and what drives it, Phil?
The intrinsic motivation of every human being, I believe, is to do well by each other. I was capable of plenty of things growing up, and now, though, after 30 years of playing music, the primary drive is that I really love to create, and I love that people enjoy it. I teach it as well, and I enjoy teaching. Some people teach out of necessity. I think it's a universal language, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. You were mentioning earlier that you were immersed in music from practically the very beginning. What's one of your fondest memories related to music?
Ohio, where my dad grew up, Southeast Ohio, a heavily Welsh community, actually, down by the coal mines here in the States. And it's called Appalachia. And I remember walking down a dry riverbed in the autumn and hearing my dad and his cousins and his uncles all singing in Welsh. I don't know what they were singing, but I just thought, and I could hear it down the riverbed floating through the woods, and it was sort of an ethereal thing, you know, for a young boy to hear, you know, this other language that flows so well off the tongue and is so musical in nature.
Yeah, they say that Welsh is the language of heaven. I don't know whether or not you've ever heard that one, but it is said that Welsh is the language of heaven. Now, you've written a book, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yeah. Tell us about it, and what drove you to write it in the first place?
I like to tell stories. Raconteurs run in the family, and I had people, you know, I'd tell them on stage, leading into a song, you know, short blurbs of a story. I'd tell them after the show. I'd tell them at parties. Any chance I got, it was something to turn into a story. Oh, that reminds me of that sort of thing. And people kept telling me I had to write them down, and I finally broke down and took them up on it. And I made a collection of stories, but it was very non-linear. So then after a few people had read that, I hadn't particularly released it in any fancy way, I just had it available. People said, I want to know more, and I want to know the dark stuff too. And so I said, okay. And so I took those same stories, rewrote several, dropped a couple, and added several. And it ended up becoming basically my confessional, I guess. 30 years as an independent musician, how does one survive, sometimes in spite of oneself? So it's the Outback Musician's Survival Guide. And true to my Gilbert and Sullivan upbringing, it has a subtitle, One Guy's Story of Surviving as an Independent Musician. So it chronicles my life, how, you know, it's not a how-to book by any means. It has information in it as to, you know, advice on the industry, but that's just sort of a given because I've been in it for 3 decades.
Mm. One final question. What are you up to at the moment with the music industry?
Well, I've got the new single is doing rather well. The book is doing rather well. I'm doing a lot to follow up on that. I am always mentoring new young artists. Chicago's full of them. It's the real music city of the States, more so than any other. So I'm constantly involved in something, but I am leading that single into a vinyl release. So I have a collection of new material that I haven't yet recorded, so I'm in the process of working on that. So it'll be vinyl and digital, of course, you know. But so.
Now we're going to play out with a track which is called "Take Me Baby." Tell me about that.
I had a dream that my wife cheated on me, and in the dream, true to being a songwriter, I wrote a song in response, and I woke up and I thought, well, I wonder if I can remember that song, and it turned out I did. So it came from a dream, and I filled in the gaps. It's a blues track, tongue-in-cheek, and it features the late great Chicago blues harmonica player Matthew Steinmetz, who played with me on multiple albums and with a great deal of other Chicago artists.
phil+circle, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
And through the magic of computers, if you can hang on the line, you can hear the whole thing from start to finish, all edited up very quickly. So stand by for that.
Fantastic.
All right then, stand by then, Phil. Here we go.
All right.
nice levels. This should be a doddle to do. Fun. What I mean. All right. Gotcha. Next bit. And part 2. Can you describe your musical work and what drives it, Phil? Can you describe your musical work and what drives it, Phil?
My dad, I would visit him down like the blues, or you may as well move. So all these things were surrounding me, and so I grew up around music. You sort of had no choice in our family but to learn an instrument. I grew up then on operettas. And I love that people enjoy it. I teach it as well. And I enjoy teaching. Some people teach out of necessity. I think it's a universal language, and
fascinating editing process.
What I Mean by phil+circle. Welcome to the Underground Edition. phil+circle himself. Hello, Phil. How you doing?
Good morning, Bill. I'm well, thank you.
Now, how's Chicago today?
Unseasonably warm. Well, it's still dark here as we...
I get long-winded. This is what it's really like.
I just realised when I downloaded you're the chap who I had difficulty with the music tracks, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's try again.
All right.
So another go.
Okay.
No, it's not liking it. So we're gonna have to pull it out from the system.
All right.
Yes, very, very irritating. There's nothing one can do about it. It's just one of these sort of, things that happen.
Sure. I'm going to refill my coffee.
Take me, baby.
Chicago blues harmonica player Matthew Steinmetz, who played with me on multiple albums and with a great...
This is a pre-recorded radio broadcast.
What I mean is I'm coming home after many a day. What I've seen, it's pretty cold, but I found my way, and I ain't gonna stop until I reach the top.